because it sounds like in Como's heart he'll never refuse to help and give him a break. I feel that it's a privilege to work in this field. I owe much to my community. When Bill called me about this, I certainly could hardly think of carrying on a program like this. And the Lord said, well, it's something like the AA third step. We turn our life and our will over to God under the direction of our superior. My superior wanted to send word at any time that I would take no more. It came nearly to that point in a few cases. But thank God, and the fervent prayers of, well, I suppose many of the sisters who were interested, and our little Dr. Bob, and Bill himself. Somehow we weathered it through. I'll just be honest here to say a few words about how we got started in Athens. I hardly know myself. I was sent there in 1928, just as well, it might be the doctor recommended occupational therapy. Change of occupation for a while. I was in the field of music, and as you know, that's rather nerve-wracking. And I think it was pretty good for me. So I would think the B. Thomas, which was just opened in 1928, and it was there I met Dr. Bob. We had open staff for first year because we didn't know the men, nor did they know us. Doctor operated at our hospital and the other hospitals. I didn't know the drinking problem, and in fact I wouldn't have known it had he not told me so, because he didn't come to the hospital when he was drinking, evidently. Oh, I can recall sometimes his voice was rather reverberating. I could hear him where he came in the back door. He had a decided English accent, New England accent. But somehow I liked him because he was so straightforward. Those of us working on hospitals know that some doctors make everything an emergency, a matter of life or death. Others will tell you the exact truth about the case. Say, well, my patients wait a few days, or if they can't, then we know that you take them for what they say. However, doctor was so straightforward that I enjoyed working with him. And one day he looked rather down. We often had little chats. And this morning he came in, he looked rather down. I said, Doctor, what's the trouble this morning? Well, then he told me, he said, well, sister, he said, I might as well tell you that I came in contact with a New York broker and that had a drinking problem for a long time, and somehow we got together and we tried to work out something that will help these drugs, he said. Well, he said, we've been trying it out. They tried a few red cones, and he had some in the other hospitals. And he said, sister, would you consider taking one? Well, I hesitated because sometime before, probably some months before, I took a man in who, he looked, I didn't know much about this drinking. I knew some could drink it. Some could drink and handle it well, others couldn't. So they called me to the emergency, and I went down and talked to him. He said, sister, I could just lie down a little while. He worked at the city garage and looked like a very respectable person. He said, I've been drinking a little too much and I want to get straightened out. which I thought was a good thing. Well, the only bed that we had at the time was a bed in a 4-bedroom. Then we knew nothing about special treatment. And I signed to the man on service, on medical service, and registered him, put him to bed, and I said, "You won't cause any trouble." "Oh, no," he said, well, I forgot about him. When I came over early the next morning, the night supervisor, who was tall, sister, we all teased her about her big feet. Well, she was standing at the door waiting for me. She said, "The next time you take a DT in this place, please stay up all night and run around after Ms. Weir." That let me into it either. I decided then that that's enough. I often felt sorry to see them turned away, but I was not the last word in the hospital. So when doctor proposed my taking a real because I thought a real well, you can imagine my misgivings. I said, "Oh, dear me." I told him about this experience, and I said, "Doctor, not only will I be put out, but I said the patients and everything else." I said, "I don't think they want alcoholics." He said, "Sister, this patient won't give you a bit of trouble because I will medicate him, I'll assure you." Well, I had much confidence in him because he never said anything that wasn't so. I'll always say that. Well, very carefully, I said, "Well, doctor, I shall take him then." And put him in a 2-bedroom. I thought I was doing pretty well because we were so crowded in those days, and beds were rather premium. So I took him to this 2-bedroom. Doctor went up and medicated him and everything. And I thought, well, I figured I wouldn't hear much till the next morning anyway if there was any trouble. So there was a word about it. Doctor then came to the admitting office. He said, "Sister, would you mind putting my patient in a private room?" I thought I had done pretty good to put him in a 2-bed. He said, "You know, he said there'll be some men come to visit him, and they'd like to talk to him privately." Well, I said, "I'll do what I can, doctor." After he left, I went up and looked the situation over. And right across the hall, we had a flower room where we used to prepare the patient's flowers. And I thought, well, they can fix their flowers somewhere else for today, and I believe I could push the bed in there. That's what we did. And his visitors came. We kept a close eye on them. And the doll knew. And the doll, well, mind the respectable-looking men, they don't know that they ever took a drink. And went along. I thought, now the next time, I won't have this trouble, and I'll put him in a private room. So the next one that came along, I put in a private room. And I didn't know much about these alcoholics. I was not an expert. Surely the Lord picked out a weakling. When he picked out me, I know. But, however, I took him down to the room, as I would any patient, and then I was taking the chart to the desk to explain to the nurse a little about it. I couldn't tell her too much. I said Dr. Bob would give her the orders. And wasn't he down after me? Well, he had his short tongue and everything else. I nearly went through the floor because the nurses all looked, and every And you go right back to the movie, right down. So there came down with me, and here he was under the bed. Well, I thought this will never work. To breathe it so go at all. I better put two together the next time. I didn't want to give up at once. I don't know just exactly what I did, whether I had someone stay with him or what I did. But I know after that, I put two together, and then finally took a 4-bedroom. It seemed to go pretty good. One would help the other. Usually, one or two would be in a few days before they'd be coming out of it pretty well. And so then we took them out of 2-bed across the hall. Well, it was hard to say no when they really wanted to do something about it. And by that time, the men were coming in quite often. So much so that some of the sisters said, why are these fine-looking men that come in so often and feel so interested in the patients? And I didn't say much at first, but later I said, well, that is AA. I said, what is AA? Would you like to know something about it? Well, yeah. Well, I'll bring some literature. That's how I gradually up. But before that, a committee from Alcoholics Anonymous talked with Sister Superior. She was one who'd had a lot of experience in the old days of charity and all. And she knew what we were doing. And she said to these men, she said, well, strange, she said, when we had with charity, they'd be running around the hall and there'd be a lot of trouble. But since Dr. Bob is treating them, we don't know that they're in the house. So she said, there's no problem, as far as I can see, just go right along. Well, that was wonderful. But that wasn't all. Of course, then later patients complained because they could have visitors at any time. The DJAs, they seemed like such privileged characters. So finally, they decided we had a small accident ward. It was sort of off from the rest of the hospital. And there we put in a coffee bar, and Dr. Bob set up the program. I won't tell you that the first opportunity he had, he brought Bill over. And, of course, I couldn't imagine who this wonderful Bill was. Well, I soon learned that God had chosen two great men. What we didn't have, the others supplemented. And together, they were perfect. I could just see, I often say to our boys, had dogs, two great religious leaders, no one would have come near them, because the alcoholic doesn't want anything about religion or God, nor do we try to preach. But they aren't in that very long until they're asking or telling you what experience they've had and what they'd like to do. They know they haven't been living right. And I feel that, as many of our nurses have said, the best sedative is peace of mind. If once they can be relieved of their anxieties and worries and treated properly, there should be no trouble. First, when we first come in and Dr. Bob set up the program, no televisions, no radios, no newspapers, only literature pertaining to AA or that would have a moral, a building of their morals and things of that kind. Because they don't, they know all the reading they can take care of, and then their visitors, too. Well, we went on with that. There are many details I could bring in, but I don't want to make it too long, because I know many of you have probably questions that maybe Carol Collins could answer. Some of these people don't know much more than I. But anyway, during Doctor's time, I think we treated between 4,000 and 5,000. And he treated them, he came in every day unless he was out of town or something like that. And without any charge, he said, that's my contribution to AA. course, in those days, they didn't have too much either to stomach with, and you couldn't mention money very well, or how much it would cost, because if we just get them sober, it would be a great deal. But that was taken care of later on. Thank God. It's worked out very well. And there are no problems. Oh, many times, whether they have it or don't, we take them in, because God certainly provides. And the man who gets it proven is everlastingly grateful. Doctors, it's hard to understand. Sometimes you make rounds and they come down and they say, "Sister, let that man go home. He doesn't want this program." "Oh, but doctor, it's a big family and he has to set me on it." "Doesn't want the program, sister. He isn't ready." So he was always right. We times they'd frighten me with that they'd have a heart attack, or they would tell me they had a bad heart or something. And I hated to bow to doctor too much. Often I'd call Anne. I think members of this group, or any alcoholic, should often say a prayer for Anne, because she was the backbone of this. In her calm, quiet way, she was really an angel. I would call her and say, "Oh, Anne, I'm so worried about this fellow." She knew most of them from either reputation or Dr. Cully. And he would get the doctor if it was anything serious, but otherwise he said, "No, don't worry about it." Because, or they're allergists, in other words. Yeah, I really ain't worried. They do anything to let them on another drink or treatment of some kind. So, well, we take them but once. That was Doctor's plan too. I thought, oh my, that's kind of strict, isn't it? But oh, I see the wisdom of it. Because if there is a merry-go-round, when that temptation comes, they're going to think, well, I can get back in there for 5 or 6 days. Well, that'd be all right. Sister's good. She'll take me back. And I'd only encourage them by drinking. They know that it's a one-way trip. The sponsors, and as Colonel Town said, their cooperation is tremendous. Any hospital who tries to just take them in on their own is very foolish, because they need the sponsorship. I often say it's something like learning the technique of golf. You may know all the angles and all the rules, but unless you get out there in the field and do some footwork and practice, you won't be much of a golfer. So Dr. felt that they could be taken out of the environment. At first, it was just 5 days, because people were pretty depleted after the depression and all, financially. And the sooner we got them back to their family, the better. Although many of those first AAs would take them into their own homes and try to help indoctrinate them. They worked in groups. It was marvelous what they did. But however, we certainly have found that it was very wise, because the sponsor will not bring them until they are ready. And then he screens them carefully and goes over it. We want to be sure that sponsor is not just a person they met in a bar somewhere. But one I never have them what groups they're attending for it now. I know most of them well, know who are good sponsors and who are not. But it's a tremendous help. So finally, the time came, well, Anne, of course, died in 1949. And that was very hard for doctors. He called from McLean Airport. They had just gotten in from Texas, and the plane was grounded, but Bill knows more about this than I. Anyway, they brought him directly to the hospital. And we kept Doctor there, too, because he was people are taken up with all this. And Anne died of pneumonia and all that. So, went on from there. Doctor then died in 1950, a year and a half later. When he was in, I believe that he had a malignancy. He talked with Bill. Well, I think that several times a week, if not every other day, he'd give me a little message. And I felt as though I knew Bill and his guiding spirit, too, because there wasn't very much done that they didn't consult together on. That there anything affecting the foundation of it. Then one day I got word, we're just like people in the Army, we go to where we're sent. I also wondered whether I was off the mailing list or whether I was forgotten. I was there 24 years. Only 1 week short of 24 years. And finally, the obedience came. So I had to go to charity and work with AA there. They had AA at charity and fine workers there, but they just had a small department. And Sister Victorine, a very fine sister, who everybody loved, was there too. And she came down and we told her everything, and Dr. Bob talked with her. And she really did a good job. But they decided to build a new wing and all the extra. Oh, I know they thought Alcoholics Anonymous was a frill then or not, but everything was discontinued. It wasn't absolutely a case of life or death. So they just kind of forgot about AA. But Reverend Mother didn't. She saw much good in it, I know. I went there in August, and I didn't hear a word about, other than on my obedience, it said that I would take care of this floor and visit these patients and work with AA. Well, I knew someday maybe we'd have them. But anyway, I just observed and went on day by day. Finally, one day, I got a call of the surgery checking on the patient to see, find out the condition. Found we were worried about this patient. The bell rang furious swinging. The superior wants to see down your floor. And I came down, and the architect of the new building was there. And a few nurses, the director of our nursing service was there. And of course, Terry said, "What kind of a setup would you like for this AA?" Well, the man was standing in the middle of the floor and feeling rather strange. I didn't know whether to hold myself or not just yet. And I wouldn't think very fast. So this nurse said, "Well, sister, are they violent?" I said, "No, they're not violent." "Oh, they're not intoxicated." "Yes, they aren't intoxicated. But they're clear enough to be screened because we must make sure that they want the person." "Well," she said to the architect, "you won't need to hate the friend." Well, I said, and after rocking, "Would you mind give me a few days and we'll drop a little plan of what we'd like?" "Fine." Well, the day that they came was on the beach bar, Lady of the Rosary. That's how we called it, Rosary Hall. And there is, connected with that, when I was moved there, I thought, oh, I'd love to have this in memory of Dr. Bob. Well, I thought if I get permission, rather than call it the alcoholic ward, we'll call it Rosary Hall. Taking one in their robes, R.H. Well, I thought all I needed from this, and I have Dr. initials, R.H.S. Robert Holbrook Smith. So we call it Rosary Hall Solarium. Now, the insignia on the door is RHS. from his noble awards granted by a hospital authorities on October the 7th, 1952. Peace and much older rosaries. I feel that to people, whether they're in the church or whatever the denomination, when you see a rosary, you know it means prayer. People get the rosary out, well, you think they're praying somehow. So to everyone, I think this is all a result of someone's prayer. The grace of God comes through someone's prayer and penance, that's for sure. Well, anyway, is it that part of University Hall, Solarium? Well, I told you about that. The insignia eloquently expresses the efforts of the Sisters of Charity of St. Augustine, a Catholic religious order, as they join forces with the members of AA, a strictly and unsectarian movement, in an attempt to rescue men and women of all creeds from the bottomless pit of alcoholism. To be admitted to this ward, you must be sponsored by a member of AA in good standing. You must also evidence the desire not just to get sober, but also preserve and perpetuate your sobriety on a day-by-day basis. Unless you yourself are willing to admit that you are an alcoholic, you are advised to seek help elsewhere. The physical therapy, most modern, known to medical science. The patient's entire stay is a retirement from the outside world and their habits which have caused his collapse. There are no radios, television, newspapers, or magazines. Nothing but AA literature and other literature in keeping with the programs are available. The patient may have no liberties except members of Alcoholics Anonymous, who are welcome between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. The conversations turn to alcoholism and its ravaging problems. Every evening, a member of AA comes to the hospital to conduct a brief AA meeting with the patient. An attractive coffee bar stands to the center of the hall, where AA members and the patients often gather to discuss their compounding. A little oratory is open at all times. Just, if they want, do some prayerful thinking is there. The remodeling and construction work of the Solarium was done by members of AA who contributed their time and money. Members who belong to the building trades work day and night during these spare hours to complete the lovely quarters at no cost to the hospital. University Hall accepted its first opened 1 year ago, and since that date, 1,000 men and women have been hospitalized therein. We have much room for women. We're hoping to get more. Oh, we have three. We have three. Sometimes 4, and even if I stretch to 5, but that'd be good. However, the remodeling Ruby Hall accepted its first phase 1 year ago, and since that date, well, pardon me for repeating, they have been offered not only the key to sobriety, but also the key to a happy sobriety. The Sisters of Charity and members of Alcoholics Anonymous who have assisted them decline any individual credit. They are aware that it is in giving we receive. Well, God bless you all, and I wish you a continued happy sobriety, and may God's grace be with you all we do, for every one of you. Thank you.